Hey there, folks. It's your buddy Mike Messier. And one of my pet peeves with this modern world that we live in is when people do videos and they have like a fucking bed in the background. I always think that's a little bit obnoxious. And I think that this lighting is kind of bad too. But we will get through it. We will survive. Um, this shirt is kind of annoying me. But I've got laundry to do later on today. I'm glad I did. Halloween Kills, I thought was very good. So I'll talk about that for a moment. You're welcome to throw in some questions and comments. Covering a various topics this morning on a Sunday, or yeah, it is a Sunday, isn't it? So Halloween Kills. I'm glad I did see this on the big screen. I saw the original film last night, um, not 2 nights ago. How's it going, David? Very good, buddy. Very good. David Graziano doing well in Rhode Island, Exeter, that sparkling jewel of the North. I go to see Halloween, the first one from 2018, which is probably what the 10th movie in this series. Glad to hear it, buddy. And I go to see Halloween a couple of nights ago. I hadn't seen it before, so this I'm catching up on the movie. This series of films, horror films, classic. I did a whole other thing on that first movie, the Halloween original 2018. Not to say the original I think was from 1978. So I saw that on Friday night. So now we're going to Saturday night here in Arlington, Texas, where I'm currently at. And I go into the theater and I'm surprised to see that the theater was kind of filled with people. I mean, this movie from 2021 or 2020, a lot of people were in this theater. I don't know if they had seen the movie before or if they were new to it or what, but I was pretty pleasantly surprised that there was all these people here to see Halloween Kills. So let's get on with it. The movie possibly was filmed at the exact same time, like consecutively with Halloween from 2018, because it seemed like a pretty seamless transition from one movie to the next. It seemed like it's quite possible they filmed them both at the same time. The movie starts off right where we left Halloween 2018, picking right up on the action. Um, yeah, good point. Jamie Lee Curtis is a big part of these movies, David. I don't know if you've seen the most recent ones, but she's here in this one. Her character of the babysitter has grown up to be a grandmother, and her daughter is played by Judy. Oh God, I just slipped her name. Uh, Green, woman that's been like an independent film actress for a long. Judy Greer actually is her name. So she plays Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter, which is an interesting choice. And then that daughter character has both a husband and they have a teenage daughter. So I mean, we've gotten to the point with this franchise that the starlet of the first one is now the grandmother of the starlet. So just time flies when you're having fun. So we get into this movie, a lot of blood and a lot of guts. I won't give away everything, but basically, some of the movie is, you know, Michael Myers is now. We thought he was getting killed at the end of Halloween 2018. Lo and behold, the flaw in the system is that because they were trying to burn him alive in the basement of a house, the firemen came trying to do their job and save people from a fire. But they didn't know that that was Michael Myers getting burned alive in the house. So the poor firemen are trying to save whoever's in the house, but they're actually saving the serial killer, the monster, Michael Myers. And he turns things around. He starts killing the firemen. So There you go, folks. Then he is free to reign. Jamie Lee Curtis's grandma character has her, guts spilling out of her. They have to take her to the hospital. Then we get probably the most interesting addition to this whole franchise at this point in the game. Anthony Michael Hall, who some of you might remember from Edward Scissorhands. Before that, Weird Science, I think in 1983 or 1984. The Breakfast Club, I think that was 84, 85. Anthony Michael Hall, who played, God, he played one of the guys. He played Bill Gates, I think, in a made-for-TV movie. Anthony Michael Hall is actually a really good actor. Johnny Be Good with Uma Thurman, in case you ever saw that one from the late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, Anthony Michael Hall, who used to be, when he was really young, he was kind of like the skinny, nerdy character in Breakfast Club. But he's actually kind of juiced up. Like he's all big, like a Barry Bonds improved Anthony Michael Hall. He's just a big, scary dude now, very thick, kind of a shaved head. And he's playing Tommy, who it's told to us was the child, one of the little kids that Jamie Lee Curtis's babysitter character was babysitting in the original. So a nice tie in there. I'm pretty damn sure that Anthony Michael Hall as a kid actor did not play that role, but that's okay. We'll go with it. It is the movies after all. But he is starting like this militia, this violent militia to go after Michael Myers. And he's kind of interesting because if you think about I was thinking about the first Michael Myers movie in The Mask, and it occurred to me, is the mask that he wears, because it's, when you think about it, it's like, what is the mask supposed to be? I mean, he's not wearing a mask of himself, but what's this mask supposed to be? It came to my mind, Frankenstein. Is the Michael Myers mask supposed to be like a Frankenstein mask? Yeah, exactly, David. That's what I'm thinking. That this militia is like the Proud Boys or some type of modern day militia, January 6th, militia, whatever. But so is the Michael Myers mask a version of Frankenstein? And if so, this militia that Tommy kind of starts would seem to be like the pitchforks in the original Frankenstein story, like the town village, the original movie at least, where they all have pitchforks. There's even a pitchfork reference in this film. That was actually at the home of the former Michael Myers, which is now populated and lived in by a male gay couple, Big John and Little John. Another thing I've noticed about this movie, and also the 2018 Halloween and many other movies these days, there's a real push for inclusion and diversity. It's just sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, like anything else. But if you're paying attention, a lot of times it just does feel like they're checking off boxes, like, and I don't know about this with Big John and Little John. They do have it's a nice couple, gay guy couple. I did kind of think that was cute that they had the Big John, Little John thing. I thought that was kind of funny for a couple. But we kind of get attached to them for a few minutes and they meet their demise. Also, there was an interracial couple in this movie, an older interracial couple, and actually a guy that I knew in real life, Lenny. I believe he's a Boston-based comedian. I don't think of his last name, but he has a very distinct New England Boston accent. He did pretty well in this thing. He was only in it for, once again, a few minutes before he meets his demise. But there was Lenny, and it was good. So, but this is a lot of blood and guts. And you basically, it was a very exciting movie. Like, it was kind of an adrenaline rush. There's an interesting kind of social commentary when there's a person who's one of the escaped convicts from the psychiatric prison who escaped on the same. You got it. Thanks, David. Lenny Clark. That's exactly who I'm thinking of. Good job to Lenny to be in this movie. I was happy to see him in there. But basically, there's an inmate who escapes from the prison, and they think he's Michael Myers at the hospital. He's not. The Judy Greer, daughter slash mother character is trying to say, no, it's not him, it's not him, it's not him. And no one's listening to her. And then eventually the poor bastard, the poor, escaped convict, the gang is coming to kill him in the hospital, and he decides to jump out the hospital window, and he plummets to his death and his demise. And that's when finally people are like, oh, it's not the wrong guy. And the police officer makes an interesting statement, because apparently the police officer's daughter was killed by Michael Myers in one of the previous incarnations of these films. And the police officer says, "He's made us monsters of us all." So, it's a good social commentary, the group mentality, the mob hit, almost like a reference to cancel culture in a sense, perhaps. But basically, the poor guy is dead, and we move on. There's also a lot of stuff. I mean, this movie, The Halloween Kills, as well as Halloween 2018, they both make a lot of references to characters from the previous films. Like I said before, the way that I was told is that these films, starting in 2018, are supposed to be a sequel to Halloween 2, which I guess was 1980 or something like that. So basically, everything from Season of the Witch on is removed from this chronology. I don't know if Halloween H2O from 1998 is eliminated from this chronology or not. Didn't see Halloween yet, sorry, but WWE and Halloween movie be great. Michael Myers kills Seth Rollins for god-awful Woodruff, slices off Bianca Swiffer hair. I like that, Josh. I like that. Yeah, I was wondering if I will get to the ECW or Extreme Rules in a second. Will they ever do something with Bianca's hair, like dye it yellow or something like that? Or I knew Lenny from Boston and the stand-up scene. He is excellent. He was in Dennis Leary's series Rescue Me. Yes, Lenny Clark, David, who has some experience in stand-up comedy in New York and other areas, Boston. And Lenny Clark is who we're referencing. He was one of the victims in Halloween Kills. So Lenny was very good in his part. Also, I saw Tony Estrella Tony Estrella from the Providence area, Pawtucket area GAM Theater is in the new Sigourney Weaver film, The Good House, which I thought was quite good. And Tony has a supporting role, I guess it's fair to say, but he's in that prominently. And let's talk about, so what would I say? Well, I think that I'll give my buddy there, Johnny Z, subscriber Johnny Z, credit. He told me that I would have to see Halloween from 2018 before I saw Halloween Kills. Now I've seen them both in the last 48 hours, and I'm primed and I'm ready to go to the theater sometime this week or next week to see Halloween Ends. Now, I think it's a Terry Funk retirement. I don't think that this will be the end of Michael Myers or the end of Halloween. Sorry, I've heard that song and dance before with other movies. I just think it's going to have another, ambiguous ending where we think Michael's dead, but he's not. You know what I mean? It's just they never end these things because they make money. Still talking about Lenny Clark. He hosted comedy at the Ding Ho in Cambridge, Mass., a Chinese restaurant one side, comedy club on the other. Sounds like a fun place, to be honest with you. There's another place in the Boston area. It's not Boston downtown, but it's like, I'm trying to think of it. It's like Kung Pao or something. There's a upstairs room for a couple, like 200 or 300 people you can fit in for a show, and then they do have nice Chinese food. Sino Halloween's 1978 to now. Even Rob Zombie's darker version, but Jamie Lee far superior to Scout Taylor Compton and Rob's version. I actually did I did my Halloween 2018 live interactive review the other night, Josh, and I actually said that Rob Zombie's Halloween movies I thought were quite good, and I thought that they were like the best, my favorite Rob Zombie movies. I'm not a big fan of The Devil's Rejects or the other one, but I did think that he did a good job with Halloween. Well, it looks like the tide has turned here, folks. We have some wrestling comments coming in, and Good to see you guys are in agreement. I'm going to go down the world of wrestling. I know not everyone here is a wrestling fan, so bear with us, but we're going to go down this world, and then I'll talk about the Damon Green, Jordan. I keep wanting to say Jordan Peele. He's the film director, but I guess it's Jordan Poole for the Golden State Warriors fight. Let's talk about this Extreme Rules. So, like I said, you can't have it all, right, folks? I tried to start the special event, the WWE Premium event. I don't have Hulu, buddy. Actually, I do have Hulu as of 2 days ago. I've switched over to Hulu. I haven't really used it yet because I'm on the road, but I do have Hulu, so I'll check out the new Hellraiser. Actually, a friend of mine, AJ, you might want to look into this. Carl Dupree wrote 2 of the feature films of the Hellraiser series. House of a Thousand Corpses, yes. Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding was 5 stars, yeah. Okay, very good. And that was another Rob Zombie film. So we get into this Extreme Rules thing. I start the premium event. I push the pause button. I go to the movie, and I'm thinking, okay, I beat the system. Because if you have the Peacock streaming service and you try to watch these WWE things, you know the frustration I'm talking about. You can't really pause them. If the show is on, like in live time, you can't go back a few matches. You can't rewind. So it's not, the technology somehow is not as good as the old WWE network that we just had until a couple of years ago. But with this thing, their streaming power seems to be more, if that makes any sense. There's not as much skips and pauses and stuff, interruptions in the broadcast. But I tried to beat the system and I didn't, because when I came back, the window was dead, basically. My Peacock service had been interrupted. It didn't go along with what I was trying to do. So I had to wait. And believe it or not, I started watching Halloween Havoc 1989. The opening match, ironically enough, was Captain Mike Rotunda against Tom Zenk. I'll get back to that. And the second match was kind of interesting. It was Sweet Stan and Beautiful Bobby with Jim Cornette with their partner, Steve Dr. Death Williams, against the Samoan Savage and the SST. You might be wondering, who is all that? Well, it's basically the Tonga Kid, Rikishi Fatu, who most of you just know as Rikishi, and Samala, who I believe was the son of Afa. So that would be actually a Roman Reigns brother. So if you are a morbid wrestling fan, if you want to get deep into the entrails of it all, go back to Halloween Havoc 89, and the second match on the card is kind of that generation, kind of underneath the Wild Samoans offense Sika and before the Roman Reigns Usos generation. Basically, you see Rikishi Fatu, I guess he's the Usos' father, and so forth. Adam's in the house. Good to see you, buddy. You think Bray Wyatt will end up jobbing Roman again until Roman versus Rock'n'Mania? I will say no to that. I think they will avoid. I think with hopefully with Triple H making his decisions, there's no reason to feed Bray to Roman. At least not now. I think they should just milk him for what it's worth. I think Bray, similar to at times Jake the Snake Roberts' character, similar to the Undertaker character, Bray Wyatt doesn't necessarily need a title. His gimmick or his character, his role in this whole wrestling world is better suited off to the side for personal issues and mind control stuff. Do I see Liv Morgan going heel? Okay, we're going to do a lot of stuff here at the wrestling. It was interesting to see Liv smile. I thought that was an error at first when she was smiling during her tap out. First of all, she's very pretty. We all know that. To see her in there with Ronda, I did predict Ronda to win the title back. It doesn't make much sense to have Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan competitively. So I think they got through this thing pretty well. I mean, Liv can always say that she did beat Ronda twice, but Ronda's got her title back. Liv smiling, does that kind of lead into Liv Morgan perhaps joining whatever Bray Wyatt group comes together? I mean, I could see that happening instead of just putting Alexa Bliss back into it. You could do a deal where you put Liv Morgan into it. Here's another thing for you folks. Will the Bray Wyatt faction be on SmackDown? Will they stay away from the Judgment Day? Because I believe Judgment Day is on Raw, right? So, I mean, those two groups seem to have a lot of overlap. Um, another thing, I guess I'll talk about that Edge Finn Balor I Quit match. The match, to me, the problem with that match is within 5 minutes, these guys were huffing and puffing, acting like Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA at Starrcade 85. Um, and it wasn't really warranted. They were just acting too, beat up before they were really beat up. Yeah, exactly, Adam. How many dark factions can you have? I mean, in WWE, you have uh, the new Zelina Vega group, which is kind of dark, maybe not as dark. You have the Judgment Day, you have the Bray Wyatt group, whatever that comes to. And then over in AEW, you have the remains of the House of Black. So it's just too much. It's not a gothic horror film, folks. So let's see here. Going back to this, the other thing about this show, Extreme Rules, I noticed how much I really don't like Michael Cole's commentary. Michael Cole is just really horrible on commentary. He's basically reading the lines that they feed him. He's referencing. I did appreciate he referenced Super Brawl 3, Vader versus Sting as the great strap match from the past. But the reality is, we know that Michael Cole's not a wrestling fan. At least he wasn't a wrestling fan before he got into the wrestling industry. So whenever he makes like these historical references and he starts rattling off information, it's because it's just so obvious that someone wrote it down for him and is feeding him these fucking lines. And just as a wrestling fan who knows probably more about it than Michael Cole does, I'm offended that he's trying to come off as some type of fucking legacy wrestling fan expert when he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And yes, the writers feed him the lines, and he reads the lines as if he knows what he's discussing, but he doesn't. So I'm not going to shed a tear whenever Michael Cole retires or quits or whatever. He's just not good at his job. He's been doing his job for 30 years, and he's still not good at it. So there you have it, 22 or 23 years to be exact. The Seth versus Riddle match, AJ. Okay, we want to talk about the main event here. We want to jump the fence. I'll get back to the Karrion Kross thing. Seth versus Riddle. It was. I don't think it was that good, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought Daniel Cormier was in there as the referee. I know Daniel Cormier is not a body guy. He's never been a body guy, but he just looked like a fat guy. He just looked like that referee shirt was a bit snug on the belly. And, he's just kind of struggling to keep his pants aligned and his shirt tucked in. And, Cormier did not look impressive. I mean, there had been some rumors or gossiping that perhaps Brock Lesnar would come out and make an appearance in Cormier's face. That didn't happen. And Cormier just looked like a nice guy. I mean, he really, it was almost at the beginning of the match, he was trying to establish himself. Like, okay, are they just pushing Cormier because he was not allowing either Riddle or Rollins to push him around, which is fine. It just kind of emasculates the actual wrestlers and puts over Cormier. But if Cormier is going to do a match against Brock or whoever, okay, we can start planting some seeds here. But the reality is Cormier didn't look very good. I mean, if you remember, Cain Velasquez, was it 3 years ago, comes into WWE. He looked horrible, and he had a lousy match. Oh, God. I did not. I remember the blonde frost hair tips in '99, Adam, of Michael Cole. And he's just really not good. I mean, he's just not a crowd favorite. We just don't like him. I think most wrestling fans, I can't speak for everybody. I think Michael Cole's best work was with Taz, and that's going back 10 years ago. And I think they had a good chemistry, but I just think that Michael is just not very good. He's not credible. Mikey best is Jim Ross. He should have stayed not cool. I agree with that. Although Jim's not as good as he was 20 years ago, but he's still Jim Ross. Yeah, I thought Daniel looked like Tony Atlas. I was thinking shades of Junkyard Dog, like post, like 1997 Junkyard Dog, like a year before his death. He just didn't look that good. Kung Fu Dog, as Meltzer used to call him. Let's see. So what did I think about this overall pay-per-view? The Karrion Kross match, let's get to that. I actually conked out. Like told you, like I came back from the movie. I watched I watched a couple of matches. I watched some baseball actually as well. I should put that in the mix. I watched the baseball ending, the wild card playoffs had good games. The Phillies held on to a 2-0 win, and the Mets actually held on to like I guess a 7-3 win, but the bases were loaded for the Padres, so it got to be pretty interesting towards the end of those two baseball games. So I watched the baseball, and then I watched a couple of WCW 1989 matches, and then I went back and I watched the pay-per-view. Karrion Kross, what did I think? It was kind of a non-spectacular. Like it was over before you knew it, and just I did predict Karrion to win. He did, with the Scarlet interference. Let's go to some of the other matches. The Brawling Brutes get a victory over the Imperium. That was a nice way to go. They protect Gunther. Sheamus gets a little bit of credibility back for winning a match for a change. And then, I mean, I would like to see Sheamus get that Intercontinental title by the end of the year. I think that would be good for him. And actually good for Gunther or Walter, whatever his name is, too, to lose a match. So we go the Ronda Rousey thing. It was probably better than it should have been. I mean, I do think Liv Morgan is putting her time in. I think Liv Morgan is trying. I think she works hard. And like I said, she's very attractive, very pretty. Is she going to go into some weird goth thing? Is she going to join the Bray Wyatt group? Who knows? But I thought it was decent for what it was. Then what was the next match here? I have the results on cnet.com, whatever that is. Karrion Kross pins Drew. We just talked about Bianca and Bayley ladder match. I really do have mixed feelings about the Bianca Belair thing. I think she's very talented athletically. I just get very annoyed by the whole hair twirling thing. And as one of you guys mentioned earlier, it'd be great if they cut that hair off or they used it as a rivalry. I mean, just don't let her just get a haircut. Like, if you're going to cut her hair, do it for a storyline. Or they could even paint the hair thing yellow or something as an insult. But Bianca's very talented. We can't say that she's not. I'm not, her number one fan, but I think she's very good, if that makes any sense. And Bayley is there, and they had a match, and Bianca won. So, I mean, I don't think it's this great epic ladder match of all time, but it was decent. Then we had what? We had what next? I'm just trying to see. The CNET is judging all these matches. What do I judge? They gave the Bianca and Bayley 3.5 stars. I'd probably give it 3 out of 5. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't that great. Edge, Finn Balor, I would probably give 2, 2.5. What did they give it? They gave it 4.5. I don't see that. I mean, just if you compare the Terry Funk, Ric Flair, Clash of the Champions 9, New York Knockout, I Quit match. If you compare Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA, I Quit match, Starrcade 85, they're far superior to this Edge Finn Balor thing. Just much superior. So I mean, it's just uninformed wrestling fans trying to make opinions that they just means nothing to me what he says. What else? Also, Cole tried to show his intelligence. He said that the first I Quit match in WWE history was Bob Backlund versus Bret Hart, 1995. I had to do my quick thought research, and it was he was talking about WrestleMania 11. But in reality, if you think about the submission match at Royal Rumble 1990, Ronnie Garvin versus Greg Valentine. Okay, so there you go. Mikey, Wade Barrett, and Pat should be new team of SmackDown when Pat returns. Yeah, Pat McAfee you're talking about. What is he doing now? He's doing something else. Is he doing NFL commentary or something? Yeah, Wade Barrett and Pat would be a good commentary team. I'll be honest with you. I still thought that Wade Barrett should be a wrestler. I mean, why is Wade Barrett, who's really probably got a few more years in him, why is he doing commentary? He should be wrestling. Let's see what else. This Extreme Rules thing. The thing with the concerto on Beth Phoenix, the concerto like that, the one person concerto is really an easy move to take for these wrestlers because the person swinging the chair just has to aim their chair against the chair that's on the bottom. You don't really smash the head at all. I mean, the noise might give you vertigo, the person receiving it. But if the person, I mean, you have to have a lot of trust and you can't move if you're the person accepting that one person concerto. But as far as a devastating thing, it's obviously you can see right through it. The old school concerto of when Christian and Edge used to do it 2-on-1, that seemed a lot more devastating to my opinion. Okay. So Beth Phoenix, it was okay. I mean, I don't know. The Edge thing has kind of run its course for me. It's like, okay, he's old and he wrestles. We get it. The King of the Bros thing, like I guess we already talked about that. And then the big Bray Wyatt return. My buddy Jimmy Faluca, I know, is a Bray Wyatt enthusiast. I know a lot of you guys are. And it's fine. I mean, it was a really good return. Apparently, the WWE hired some horror film writer right before Bray Wyatt came back. And, you know, how can we miss you if you don't go away? Well, he went away for, what, a year and a half. So now he's back, Bray Wyatt. The fans haven't forgotten him. And I think it'll be very interesting to see what they do with him. But I don't think they need to feed him to Roman. I don't think he needs to be in the world title hunt at all. I think he can just have personal issues, maybe go after Braun Strowman, try to recruit him. Braun fights back, doesn't want to be a puppet anymore. That could be a thing you could do. The other thing with the Braun Strowman character, or I'm sorry, the Bray Wyatt character is you don't really want him to lose, but the guys that he's fighting, you may not want him to beat either. What I mean by that is if, say, Bray Wyatt was to wrestle Braun Strowman, who would you want to put over? I mean, if you're trying to rebuild Braun Strowman at the same time, who are you going to put over in that? So I think that might be the biggest challenge with a Bray Wyatt character is how do you make him advance or do something interesting without necessarily burying whoever he's wrestling? Just a thought. I guess that's a thing with everybody, but I just think the Bray Wyatt character in particular, that's an issue. Let's see what else. Okay, so this thing is a little outside my comfort zone, the NBA. I don't talk about the National Basketball Association very much. I'm kind of a mild fan. I mostly watch during the playoffs, and I keep an eye on it. But this Draymond Green, I believe he was the same guy. If you ever watched the Mandela Effect videos on YouTube, I think Damon's the guy. His face froze up for a few seconds during some type of press conference. Just looked that up. Damon Green's face freezes, kind of creepy. And then I think Damon, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he the gentleman that at the beginning of COVID was like touching all the microphones? Wasn't that Damon Green? And then one of his teammates actually got COVID and so on and so forth. So poor guy, I guess, but he kind of does some dumb things. And now, if you look at this video, this not Jordan Peele, but Jordan Poole teammate that I don't know much about at all because I don't watch every single game. I don't memorize all the players' names. But they're in a team practice. Talking about practice? They're in a team practice, and Jordan is kind of talking, and Damon's talking, and I guess whatever they were saying, they were not on the same page. Damon comes over, crosses over, 10 feet or 8 feet, basically gets in this guy, Jordan Poole's face. He's taller. He's probably 30 or 40 pounds heavier than his teammate. Chest bumps him. Jordan, for his part, kind of defending himself, shoves back, like literally shoves Damon Green back with a couple of hands on the shoulders, not a punch, but a shove, a legitimate shove. And Damon responds with a pretty serious and pretty impressive, actually, jumping Superman punch of sorts. And it seemed to clock Damon on the side of the neck or the side of the head. And or Jordan, I should say, hit Jordan, and Jordan slumped and drops, and obviously didn't feel too good about it because he just got ducked. And then the teammates kind of come in and break things up. And the question would be, how did this tape get released? Did someone on the Warriors team release it? I mean, this day and age, it's so hard to keep secrets. But in any event, not a good look for the Golden State Warriors. Obviously not a good look for Damon Green. He's a vital player. He's a very important player to the Warriors franchise. He's won some championships with them. The Golden State Warriors won the title last year, but now it's a big question of what do you do? And I think I watched a couple of press conference clips of Damon, and even he didn't know what the thing to do was. Or he was pontificating, look, we're supposed to have our ring ceremony in 10 days. And I don't think he spelled this out, but some other sports guys did. If the Warriors were to suspend Damon for a game, even one game, if that was the first game of the season, he would miss the ring ceremony, which would be kind of a shame. Maybe he deserves to miss it. I don't know. But it just, the whole situation's a wreck. It's not a good look for the team. I mean, it's just definitely an asterisk on Damon's career. I don't think Jordan comes out looking better either. Some people, insiders, I'm not an insider, but they were saying that this Jordan guy is a bit annoying. Some of those teammates he just kind of annoys them. So I guess whatever he was saying, which wasn't captured on audio, might have been somewhat annoying to Damon, but nonetheless, not worthy of getting a punch. As far as who's at fault, I would probably say 99% Damon Green's fault. You might be saying, well, why not 100%? Well, I think because you have to leave that 1% open to the fact that we don't know what Jordan said. And we don't, in the ferocity of his shove, we don't know the history between these two guys as teammates. So there could be more to the story that we haven't seen just based on that 30-second clip. But as far as the actual moment, that's why I say 99% Damon's fault, not 100%, just because we don't know what the fuck happened. So we'll see what happens, blah, blah, blah. Okay, folks, well, unless you have any more comments or questions or queries or statements, I think I addressed all these issues, all these hot topics. If you want to see more about my discussion of Halloween from 2018, I encourage you to do so. All you have to do is look back on my videos to the Halloween review from a couple of nights ago. Once again, you can see all my wonderful books, MikeMessier.com. Scroll to the bottom, buy all my books. A friend of mine, Andres, recently bought my film book, which I appreciate. And everybody have a good day. Okay, it's the Sunday. There's football going on and all types of wonderful things. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. And thanks for watching.